Okay, guys, so today we're going to be doing solving inequalities. And the good news about solving inequalities is that you already know how to do it. So what I mean by that is that you would solve an inequality the exact same way you would solve an equation. So for example, if I took this thing out, took the inequality out, and just to review, make sure we know this, that these are in our inequalities. This is less than, this is greater than, this is less than or equal to, this is greater than or equal to. So that's what I mean by inequalities. Okay, so if I took out the inequality and I put an equal sign in its place, you would solve this just like you would any other two-step equation. Cancel, negative 2x equals 100, just like we've been doing, divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, and x would equal, what was that, negative 50, okay? So the only thing that's changed is instead of this saying x is equal to negative 50, we're now putting an inequality in there, okay? And they're solved the exact same way. The only difference between an inequality and an equation is there's one extra step. You would solve it, you could start all the way up at the most complicated equations there are, where you would have to get rid of a denominator and a fraction. You would have to use distributive property to get rid of parentheses. You would have to combine like terms, then two-step, one step, and then to an answer. You would do everything the same way you would with an equation until you get down to the one-step equation. This is the key right here. If you get down to a one-step equation and you're dividing or multiplying by a negative, the inequality changes direction. And that is the only difference between solving an equation and solving an inequality. Okay? So we'll do another example here. Let me get my rag here real quick. I'm in a different room because we're experiencing some technical difficulties, so bear with me. But I'll do one multiplying and one dividing. So let's see here. If I gave you x divided by negative 3, 3 is greater than negative 4. Okay. All right, so we'll start with that one first. So like I said, just like you would solve any other equation, you solve the inequality the same way. We always want to start with the plus or minus first. So minus 3, they cancel. X over negative 3 is greater than negative 7. Okay, and now what's the opposite of dividing by negative 3? It's multiplying by negative 3, but like I just said, if you multiply or divide by a negative, the inequality will change direction. And I don't mean to oversimplify this, but it literally is that simple. You solve inequalities the same way you solve equations. When you get down to the one-step equation, if you're multiplying both sides by a negative, the inequality changes direction. Okay? Let's see if I can move this over just a little bit here. Okay, and so now I'll put a multiplying one right next to it. Let's see here. So instead of what you would typically see in a two-step equation, negative 6x minus 30 equals 30. Now it's negative 6x minus 30 is greater than or equal to 30. But again, you still solve it the exact same way. So we're going to add 30 to both sides. Negative 6x is greater than or equal to 60. And like I just said again, if you divide or you multiply, when you get down to the one-step equation, if you divide or multiply by a negative, which in this case we are, we're divided by negative 6, the inequality is going to change its direction. So like I said, if you know how to solve equations, you know how to solve inequalities. The only thing that's changed is when you get down to the one-step equation, if you multiply both sides by negative 3 or you divide both sides by negative 6, like I did in this case here, if you multiply both sides by a negative or divide both sides by a negative, then the inequality is going to change direction, and that is it.